Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope everybody's getting off to a good start. I've already come with one video, and I want to talk about something that I've been asked multiple times. I see it floating around sort of as an incendiary question on our topic on that people post that will kick off what will normally end up being a battle of the sexes. And I normally stay away from it. I'm irritated by it to a certain extent because the division that comes from questions like the one you see up there tends to do nothing but create more hostility. And I'll have to be honest and admit that those of you who know me and know how protective I am of our women know that that's clickbait. I'm going to talk about it, but this is definitely not a battle of the sexes type narration or commentary where somebody's wrong and this why I don't mess with and I don't do this. And I see these questions. And so I saw the question again today, why black men don't approach attractive black women. Are we afraid of them? Are we intimidated by them? Or this and that? And so I wanted to bring some clarity and try to give it some common sense. And I wanted to put everybody in a place of understanding and engagement. Number one, we live in a world where everyone is trying to meet or measure up to an unrealistic standard set by someone somewhere else. So the first thing I want to do is I want to encourage my sisters, my black sisters out there, be you. Be you, love. Be you in your gorgeous, beautiful self, whatever that is. I encourage you to be healthy in being you, but be you. Whatever size your breast is, they're beautiful enough, and they're plenty insufficient enough. Whatever size and shape your hips and your butt, love them. And if you want to change them or tone them, get in the gym, do it the healthy way, but love yourself. Because in loving yourself, there's an energy you create. There's a level of self-confidence and healthy energy that you create that a healthy man will be able to sense when he meets you. And I'm talking about single women. But also, if you happen to be married or in a serious relationship, when you love yourself, there's a healthy energy you create that a healthy man can read in his energy and perceive in his energy, and the space will be inviting. But let me explain something to you. A healthy man isn't intimidated by an attractive woman. A healthy man isn't intimidated by an attractive woman who happens to be highly successful in business. A healthy black man isn't intimidated by someone that's on their game. As a matter of fact, they're turned on by it. They're seeking it, and it's what they desire. No one who is healthy is looking for someone struggling. No one who is healthy is looking for someone who isn't feeling themselves. No one who is healthy is looking for someone that they don't think is attractive. So a healthy man is looking for an attractive woman. A healthy man is looking for a woman who's on her game. A healthy man is this. And let me explain something to you right off the bat. Let me set the stage for what I'm trying to talk to you about here. We're talking about, as far as I'm concerned, we're talking about black love, black men, black women, and we're talking about beauty. Now, what I had to learn early in life, and so I'm gonna set this up because a lot of women are like, I'm out here, I'm all fly, I'm looking good, I'm sending out these come love me vibes and all of that, and dude ain't moving on. Let me explain something to you. Something I had to learn, or I was gonna drive myself crazy and run my body to a muck early in life. I had to learn that when you're dealing with black women, you're going to see a lot of beautiful women all day long, and you can't move on every woman. So let me explain something to you that happens when a black man who is on his game, and Marion will tell you this about how we came about. When a black man is on his game, when he's finally healed himself, And see, that's where a lot of things are happening. We're trying to create relationships from a place of brokenness. We're trying to heal, put relationships together solely based on the most primitive part of our nature that draws us together without thinking about the more prominent parts of our nature, which is our spirituality, our emotional stability, and our natural yearning to be the best we can be for one another. And that comes from wholeness. We got to admit we're coming from brokenness so that we can heal. Because when you go into the last thing you should be entering into a serious relationship for is hoping that person can bring you wholeness, hoping that person can bring you healing. Now, I promised my wife when I first met her, as a part of us coming together, that I was going to love her back to life. But see, I was committed to that before she came. I knew what I was going to have to do to be what I needed to be in my wife's life. So I wasn't demanding or expecting perfection because I couldn't deliver it. I couldn't deliver it myself. So I wasn't demanding that. What I was saying is I'm going to find a woman who knows what she wants and is committed to having it. And I'm going to be everything she can possibly need to make sure she gets it. I'm going to love her back to life. I'm not going to demand perfection. I'm not her healer, but I'm the person that's going to create the environment so that she can heal herself, that her work with her and God can do what it does. And that's what we did. And that's what I worked and done. And that's what I continue to do. And that's what I continue to teach brothers. So ladies, first you have to understand, if a black man was actually sit up and all he needed to do was be attractive, we will be hollering at everything that walked by because our sisters are absolutely gorgeous. If we're going to be honest with ourselves, that's something about our women that's this next level that I want to go to. I talk to my wife about it all the time. It's just something. It's an energy. It's a level of beauty. And you got to understand that literally that melanin itself has spiritual energy in it. It's a part of God's cosmos. It's a part of the world and God created. Everything in the world, in the universe, has an origin or a basis of melanin. And since we have such a high level of it, our spiritual capacity to receive spiritual energy is higher than most people. So we naturally connect to each other on levels that most people can't even connect to each other on, period. So it's not simply attraction. That's there. This is what I had to learn. And my wife will tell you, I did it with her. The first time I saw my wife, I said, that's my wife. The first time she saw me, she knew who I was. Neither one of us said anything. As a matter of fact, we had a professional relationship for about a year before anything ever took place. We went our separate ways and came back. But what happened is, it's not the physical attraction that's going to precipitate and perpetuate and sustain the relationship. And that's where a lot of us get caught up. We get caught up, oh my God, they make me feel this way. Oh my God, they're so sexy. Oh my God, that's good. Physical attraction will get the attention of a lot of people. But what comes after the attention, I'm going to tell you what happened with me. What put me in a situation that saved me a lot of trouble, a lot of heartache, is that, yes, your beauty will get my attention. But then I go into the next mode. And that's where a lot of things happen. I'm observing now. I'm observing your movement. I'm observing your speech. I'm observing what you're passionate about. I'm observing all of that from a place where you don't know you're being observed. Because what I observe is going to have a great impact on the next move. And when I haven't been observant, when I've been instinctively aggressive, it's always bit me in the butt. So I made up in my mind for years. I said, okay, the next time, first, I did two things when my relationship before the one where I got with my wife. I did a couple of things. First thing is no dating. I'm not going out with anybody. I'm not doing anything. So for a while, for the longest time in my life, because I was always the kind of person that felt like I needed a woman in my presence. If I wasn't in a serious relationship, then I had a bunch of women around me. I had to be validated by the presence of women. And I didn't realize that was coming from my brokenness. So I had to deal with that. That was the first thing I did. I said, okay, I'm not having any other women around me. I'm going to use this time to become me. I'm going to use this time to love me. I'm going to use this time to become more stronger in who I am. I'm going to use this time to settle down so that I'm not in a place of I gotta have what I need. I want to see clearly in my spiritual sense what's in front of me. And I had so much you say every time you get with somebody, you're merging DNA physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And that thwarts how you perceive yourself, how you perceive the world. It can bring dark energy, light energy. It can do a whole bunch of things, but it can definitely set you off your balance, and it can inhibit and delay your healing if you're in a place of brokenness. So you got to understand this. A lot of times, see, what you got to understand is God planted the right balance in you for the right person for you, for the right merging of you. But when you go out and you sit up and you start pulling in what you want because you like the way it looks, you start disharmonizing the balance. And now you can't recognize what God had for you for going after what you wanted and you had never vetted. And so with me, it became a situation of when I did decide, okay, I'm back out here. There were some women that got my attention from a visual perspective, but when I stood up and I started to observe, that's where it wasn't. And I'm not saying what I was observing was a bad thing. I'm saying, okay, in order for something to work, I want somebody that's in the same field of passion that I am. I don't want somebody that thinks like me. I don't want a yes woman that tells me everything I do is perfect. I want somebody that has the same love and passion and is about the same thing. Marion had a love for God. Marion had a love for people. Marion had a heart to serve. So yeah, I like that because I'm out in the community. And if a person doesn't have a heart to serve, it's going to be hard to understand me. It's going to be hard to understand why I give so much of my time to people who can't give anything back to me. So I need somebody that's doing it. And so she was loving and loving on girls and giving. I mean, and sometimes you look at her and say, how many times have you gave that same lecture to that one person and they don't seem to get it? And she just goes right back in. And the funny thing about it is this particular person that I'm speaking about, this was years ago, but this person has now finally got it. That's the planting of the seed, the watering of the seed, and the cultivating of the seed when it doesn't make sense to anybody else but the one who believes. And it just happened to be that Marion was the one who believed. But let me explain something to you. Again, so just because you're attractive and even sending out positive vibes doesn't mean that a man that is on his game and good and knows who he is going to immediately jump on it. Not that he doesn't see you, not that he's not even desiring you. He may be observing because he's learned through his experiences and he's developed some wisdom that understanding that just because it looks good doesn't mean that it's good. And just because it's good for someone doesn't mean it's good for me. So I'm going to sit back and I'm going to observe. I'm going to see how she moves, how she talks, what she's passionate about, what she loves, what she dislikes, how she deals with stress, how she deals with people who disagree with her. How does she handle conflict? All of these things are something you should be observing before you jump off into something because everybody's not meant to be around everybody. We've got to learn to love everybody without trying to be with everybody. See, it's good to look at a woman and say, oh my God, she's gorgeous, but that's not for me. And still think she's gorgeous and still think she's great and move on because we need to understand that there's a spiritual frequency. I talk about it a lot. Some people get turned off about it. Oh, well, there's a spiritual frequency I operate on consistently. Now, sometimes I'm a little lower on my frequency. And sometimes I'm just like on a whole super high level of frequency and I'm really moving. But most of the part, there's a place that I reside at consistently. And what do we know about spiritual energy? What do we know about energy? Energy attracts like energy because it's important to be on the same frequency as much as possible. So it's way more than what you see visually. It's way more than what you see visually. And I want to kind of round this out on the back end of talking about what I kind of led with. I led with a couple of things. First and foremost, black men can't go after every woman that they think is attractive, especially when you're talking about black women. You'll be jumping up and out your seat every darn minute. And I've actually seen that. I've seen guys, every woman walk by, they jump up, try to talk to them. I'm literally every woman. And I'm like, dude, you got to be tired. You know, my whole thing is I walk in a room. Back in the day when I walk in a room and I'm looking, and if black women in there's a bunch of blue, beautiful women in the building. That's just, it just is. And I'm looking and I'm observing and I'm letting myself feel and I'm looking. And then, you know, and I'm also, but check this out. I'm also checking out what's vibing off of me. I'm checking my energy. I'm checking my energy. I'm checking what's vibing off of me. I'm not trying to go create something solely off of the idea that, man, she's sexy, she's fine, she's got it going on. I'm trying to create something that's so fluid and carried by energy that I don't have to do so much work. But here's the thing I led with that you got to talk about, that you got to be aware of, that we're really suffering and struggling with right now. You got to be healed. You got to be complete. You got to be whole. We got a lot of brokenness. We got a lot of brokenness where we're trying to put things together and patch things together with pieces that aren't complete in and of themselves and make it work. But that creates unrealistic expectations. And where there's unrealistic expectations, there's disappointment and frustration, and that creates hostility and conflict. So we're not just looking to find somebody to connect with, we're looking to find somebody that we can merge with. See, the whole thing, here's the thing. When you do this thing right, you got the woman, and while she has some masculine energy and some masculine characteristics about her, she's going to be predominantly feminine in the energy she generates. And then you have the man, and though while he has some feminine characteristics and some feminine energy, and you want him to, because you want him to be able to love on and show affection to you, love on and show affection to the kids, be able to empathize with some of the things you're feeling. And if he was all masculine to only sit up in a rational conquer sense, he couldn't feel. So he needs to have those things, and he needs to be in touch with them. It doesn't govern him, but he needs to have that. But he has it, but he's predominantly masculine. Now, this is the beauty of it. God created the spiritual feminine energy as a tool of elevation. It's meant to lift. When you got the right woman in your presence, she will elevate you by her presence, by her speech, by her, literally just being there, by her smile, by her touch. And she will do it not only for you, but she'll do it for your household. She will even take on spiritually your vision and incubate it and spiritually birth it for you. That's the spiritual element of the feminine energy. The masculine energy that God gave the man is one of assertiveness, power, protection, covering, and leadership. By nature, he's going to want to move forward. He's not thinking as much, and he doesn't have as much capacity as the female to elevate, but he can move forward. So when you got the merging of feminine energy with spiritual energy, you get synergy, which is the syncing of energies that get you both elevation and propulsion. You're not only rising, you're moving forward. When you get the right woman, you're not just moving forward, you're starting to elevate. You're not just making progress, you're empowering. You're becoming empowered. Women, when you get the right man, you're not just starting to feel good about yourself. You're starting to see yourself move forward. So this whole thing is beyond just attraction. And ladies, don't buy into the fact that all black men out here have no respect for you. There are plenty. I don't hang around anybody that disrespects black women. I don't, and I teach at the Black Man Lead. Rite of Passage Initiative. The number one principle is we don't bring harm to, we don't disrespect, we don't mishandle black women and black girls. And we are here for you. So don't think that every black man is thinking like some of the clowns that are out here openly disparaging black women as a way of elevating themselves. That's not the totality and the whole of who we are as black men. That's what is always put out front and betrayed. That's what the world would like to see and have everyone believe, is that black men don't value black women. I can tell you there are plenty of us who do. And there are us that will hold those who don't accountable. There are those of us who will touch those who mishandle our black women. So don't think for a second you're alone. They want you to think you're alone. They want you to think and that nobody cares about you, nobody values you, and that's a message that we're teaching now with a great deal of veracity. And it's that we are going to stand even with our life. We're going to stand even with our life to protect our women. There are some of us now who have gotten together over the past year or so, and all around the country, who are prepared to go out and look at and defend our women, prepared to go out and check for and look for people who are looking to kidnap and attempt to traffic our women. And we are prepared to deal with that as severely as possible. That's happening in real time, real life. It's us saying, not on my watch. Obviously, you're not going to get a whole lot of press on that for a lot of different reasons, but it's happening. Marion will tell you right now, we can be riding down the street and I can see someone in what looks like an escalating altercation. Hasn't gotten physical yet, but it looks like it's about to. And I don't care what color the person is. If it's a male and they're being aggressive to a black woman, I'm turning around. And Mary's like, baby, look, I'm going to do what I got to do. Number one is black women have to feel safe, my brothers. It's our responsibility to feel safe. To make our women feel safe. Number one, I tell people all the time, we've been commodified. We live in a society that's about money. We live in a society where everybody's judged by how much money they have. We live in a society that it's so prevalent that people spend a lot of their time and their money creating lives they can't really afford to look like they really don't look to impress everybody else because it's about money. But let me explain something I tell everybody. When we teach our boys, yes, it's the man's responsibility to provide. That's not his number one responsibility, though. Well, Doc, what's his number one response? If he isn't providing, what's his number? See, providing requires an external resource. In other words, to be a provider, you got to go out and get it. And if you go out consistently to get it, you're going to bring it back. But there are going to be some times you're going to go out to get it and don't have quite all of it. You're going to go out to get it and it's not exactly everything you need. It's going to be some times that it's going to be some lean days or some lean weeks. That's something that will be out of your control. No matter how hard you work, no matter how many doubles you put in, sometimes it's just not going to be enough. But let me tell you what you can always have is a willingness to step up and say, if you touch mine, I'm going to lay you down. If you touch mine, I'm coming to you. If you touch mine, it's going to be a problem. See, what happens is when we could talk all day long about the value of the black woman, the value of the black woman will be established by what the black man is willing to allow to happen to her. Period. When we send a message that you can't touch the black woman or we going to touch you, watch what happens. See, life isn't governed in this country by this illusion of morality. That's what they give us, and that's what they preach to us. Nobody's operating on the standards of morality. It's an illusion. People are operating on the standard of consequence. If you want someone to stop doing something, apply a negative consequence to it, and you will find out that they'll stop doing it. When there's no negative consequence for kidnapping our babies and trafficking them, they will continue to do it. If there's no negative consequence for mishandling and mistreating and hurting our women, they will continue to do it. And I'm not just talking about people outside of our community. I'm saying there has to be a code of ethics, a code of conduct inside the black community. What's the African proverb? If there's no enemy on the inside, the enemy on the outside can do us no harm. Once we deal with the enemy within, we're going to be in a better position to deal with the enemy without. And the enemy without will be put on notice that we're no longer a divided people, that we are a people that stand firm with a conviction to live and protect. Black men, before you provide, you got to protect. You got to be a spiritual covering, an emotional covering, a financial covering, but definitely a physical covering. When a black woman walks in a room and sees a black man, she should rest a little easier. She should be able to relax, come out of that tense mode, come out of that self-protective mode, and know as long as this brother is sitting on this bus, as long as this this brother is sitting in this office, as long as this brother is on this aisle in this store, I am protected. And when we start sending that signal, our women are not the only one going to get it. All of those that would want to bring harm to our women are going to know. Men are going to start thinking, these men that are out there kidnapping our women, again, I don't care what color you are. If you're out there bothering our women, be prepared to pay the ultimate price when we catch you. But when we send that message, it's not going to be as easy for them to jump out, because now I might be jumping out, and while I don't see anyone around her, I don't know if there's a black man somewhere in this expansive parking lot sitting here just waiting on me to jump out there and grab her so he can light me up. You got to think just a little bit harder. You know, will that save them all? But I guarantee it's going to reduce the amount of attempts. We have to have a code of conduct that governs our behavior, that has a consequence assigned to every violation. We need protocols that govern how we behave and how we respond to every situation. We react so haphazardly about everything because we have no protocols. That should be a protocol for every possible scenario. We should have at least 1,000 think tanks going over everything we're going through in every possible scenario of things that could happen and what we would do about it. How do we win? We're too gifted to lose. We're not losing because we're not empowered. We're losing because we don't know how things work. We don't know what's going on. And I know I'm a little bit off of the whole beginning of the topic, but I told you that was going to get you in. I was going to talk to you. We're in a position right now where we got a bunch of black men making money that black men ain't never made before. We got a few billionaires. We got a lot of 9-figure brothers. And we got some women. And we have absolutely still no power. Why? I'm going to tell you something. And people get mad when I say, you can have all the group economics you want. You can improve education all you want. You can have all the black businesses you can conjure up. That's happening already. It's more black business owners now than ever, especially black female business owners. And yet we still have not moved one iota on the grand scale. Why? Disunity. We've been pitted against one another, black men in competition with black men, because we've been commodified. So we spend more time trying to show we got more than he got than we do standing together, working together, building together, growing together, and supporting one another. How many people, I'm talking brothers, how many people do you have that you can pick up the phone and call when it gets hot and hectic, and you know they'll be there? We've got to increase that number. We've got to increase that number. Then they got us having a gender war. We're at odds with one another, men against women. Everybody's pointing the finger. There's enough blame to go around. Let me tell you that first of all. There's enough culpability on both sides. We both have some things to own. But I'm going to talk to the black men just for a second. Let's own it, black men. Have some women done some things to you that they shouldn't have done? Yeah. Have you been in situations where, you know, you seen women do you some wrong, or maybe you came up and mom didn't handle things right, whatever the situation is? Hey, but if we're going to be leaders, if we're going to sit up and we got a t-shirt on that says, I'm the king, I'm the head, that comes with a responsibility of being responsible for everything of which you are now executing what you consider to be your dominion. So if I'm the head of my house, I'm responsible for what's going on in my house, even if I'm not the one doing it. And if I can't handle it and do it, then there's something wrong with my leadership. And ain't nothing wrong with having something wrong with your leadership. You just got to grow out of it. You got to get better. You got to call in some brothers and be willing to admit you don't have it all together. You got to call in some brothers and say, man, I got this down pat. I got this down pat, but this here is kind of crazy. And this is what's happening. And you got to find the brothers that's not going to ridicule you, that's not going to give you the bad advice, that's going to sit up and understand the importance of coming together. See, we live in a society that's consistently spurning the institution of marriage and promoting individualism And then we're seeing where women are actually out earning black men. So when you've been commodified black man, meaning that you are viewed solely for what you can produce in the way of income, and now as a general rule, black women are out earning you. The only race that's happening in, by the way, black women are out earning you. What do they need you for? And that's exactly why you hear so much, I don't need a man, because we've been commodified. See, we've lost sight of the fact that if I ain't got a dime in my pocket, I'm still a protector. If I ain't got a diamond in my pocket, I'm still the source of the identity of my children. My children are looking at me to see who they are. Yes, for my daughters, their mother is going to show them what it's like to be a woman, but they need to know from where they came and their identity. I'm the one that told my daughters they were beautiful so many times that it doesn't fade them by the time they hear it the first time from a guy. I heard that all my life from my dad. Now you're going to have to also follow that up with action the way my dad did. My oldest married a friend, and what I'm trying to, listen, I don't want to talk about it in a way that makes me seem like I'm the dude that's got it all together. I'm learning this thing as I go, just like everybody else. I might be a little bit further along the journey than some, but I don't have it all together. But what I do have is a strong desire to be everything my wife needs and the most prevalent and powerful and unmoving protector for my children that I can possibly be. And that's not just for the minors. That's for the adults too. My oldest is 34. And she knows. She's got a husband, so I don't have to worry about her a whole lot. But she knows if she ever picks up that phone and say, Dad, Bob, it's time to ride. No questions asked. I'm touching whoever touched her. Pooh, period. And those who know me know what I'm talking about. The degrees, there's some things, degrees and education didn't change about me, and I will never allow it to be changed. If you touch mine, I go primitive. I ain't trying to, and another thing, y'all, I'm gonna leave all that forgiving up to the forgiving people. I ain't forgiving nothing. I'm touching anybody that touch mine. Period. We've got to have that. Why? Because that's how our women become safe. When they realize these dudes will go all out to make sure these women safe, guess how safe they'll be? That's the thing. We've got to stop feeding into, and that's what got me. We got to stop feeding into the, black men. No, black men, we love our women. We got some guys out there that have been misdirected, that think white is right and all of that stuff like that, and that's who they are. But I'm telling you, it's some brothers that want the purest of the pure, and they're happy with that. I'm not here to judge anybody that's not. What I am here to say is, from this point on, if you choose to jump the fence and go over there with Becky and whoever else it is, that's your thing. I'm not deriding you. Where I'm gonna have a problem with you is if you feel the need to justify your move by degrading one of our sisters or any of our sisters or all of our sisters as the reason you jumped the fence. Because brother, anything you jump the fence to go over there and get, we got it over here. We got them light skin, dark skin. We got them Ph.D. We got them hood. We got them everything you can get over there. We got it, and it comes with a high level of spiritual awareness that they cannot emulate on their best day. And this ain't an attack on this. This is talking about what we are naturally, scientifically proven that we are gifted to do. There's a reason that most black babies are born with rhythm, because life is about patterns, rhythm, and energy. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you simplify it. And a lot of people don't like me to simplify God. And you really can't simplify God, because even in the most pure, the most profound religions, you can't come close to knowing what God really is. But when you simplify the creation and how God set things to operate, the reason you can predict your life and you can sit up and say, if I do this, I'll be successful, is because life is about patterns. Success leaves patterns. It's about rhythm. It's not just going along the pattern. It's finding the rhythm in the pattern, moving at the right speed at the right time, knowing when the beat in the drum changes, that you got to change with the beat. The beat of the drum sets it. That's why I say that the saying coming from I walk to the beat of my own drum is because you got to ride a pattern, and you got to be able to ride a pattern. Now you can become powerful enough to change the rhythm on your own. You can literally set the rhythm, but you got to know how to read the rhythm and hear the rhythm and feel the rhythm so that you're moving. So you got the pattern, the rhythm and the energy. And so babies are born, and you can turn music on when they're early enough to move, and they rocking on beat. Why? Because they're naturally feeling the rhythm. It's a part of them. It's in the melanin. It comes from their pineal gland. This isn't something I'm making up. This isn't something. This is scientifically proven that the pineal gland in blacks are much larger than those in non-blacks. And then the darker, the larger the pineal gland. There is something in melanin. There's a reason our hair is the way it is. All of these things have a purpose. So what I'm saying is, if you want to go over there, bro, and that's what you want, go over there. But just make sure you let everybody know, this is just my choice. I came over here because the truth is, it's not something you can get there that you can't get a better version of over here. And sisters, I'm telling you, we know that. Those of us who have gotten healed and become whole and gotten our minds out of the programming that says you got to look like this. And here's the other thing. And I kind of led in with this too. Also, even sisters who are with brothers who are attracted to brothers, stop buying into an industry induced and created illusion of what black women should look like. Now, I'm not talking about the Eurocentric idea of beauty, the skinny, thin, white with the thin nose and all that stuff. I'm talking about those who consider, I don't want nothing but a black woman, but you got an idea because all they've been parading in front of you is big butts, big breasts, small waistlines, that if she doesn't look like that, she's not really black. Our sisters come in all shape, colors, and sizes. And the blackness isn't dictated by how big the butt is. Sisters, stop putting that poison in you trying to meet some unrealistic expectation. The beauty of you is in actually loving you. Do you hear me? The beauty in you is actually in you loving you. That's the energy that a healed man is going to sense after he sees your external beauty. He's going to sense the energy that comes from self-love, and he's going to be drawn to it. You've got to create the right environment. Love yourself for who you are, for who God made you. See, there's no accident that your mom brought her 23 chromosomes and your father brought his 23 chromosomes and gave you 46 chromosomes that made you unique and special and different from everyone on this planet unless you're an identical twin. But even then, over time, epigenetically, your environment is going to create a uniqueness in you that separates you even from your identical twin. God didn't play. He put this thing together. So I know some people who had straight up crack addicts and pimps and dope dealers and everything else as parents. But it was no accident that they came together, because in that DNA structure, I know people who are doing extraordinary things that came from some darkness, but it was no accident that those 23 chromosomes and from one woman and 23 chromosomes from a man came together to create the 46 that's doing exceptional and extraordinary things. It was necessary and needed. It created the right temperament. It created the right mindset. It created the balance. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you're special. Just the way you are. Start to walk in your gifts. Start to love yourself. Start to love who you are. Black men too, start to love who you are. Stop seeing yourself as only a check. Because what'll happen is when the moment comes where the money gets funny, you'll start feeling inadequate. But when you know you're more than a paycheck, when you know you're a protector, when you know you can speak into her ear and give her a peace of mind, when you know you can elevate her with your voice, when you know you can bring comfort, when you know that you can speak and carry yourself in a way that the house has a peace inside of it, when the money gets funny, you still have an identity to hold you until you get the money right. You got to love yourself. And when I'm telling you, when two people who love themselves come together, a whole bunch of the conflict just can't find. So you can't have joy and depression at the same time. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't have joy. You can't have joy and depression. So when you finding the reason to be happy, at peace, when you're loving on yourself for who you are, good and bad. Nobody's perfect. Nobody is in a position to sit on a high pedestal and look down and judge anyone, because you have taken your eyes off of what you should be focused on, and that's growing you. Love yourself. Now challenge yourself to be the best you can be. Challenge yourself to grow. But don't beat yourself up because you're not measuring up to some standard that someone else created. You need to be so in tune with God that y'all got this thing worked out. I want to see black men doing more loving and less critiquing. I want to see black women doing more loving and less critiquing. I want to see us really, truly enjoying the growth spurt that we are about to experience as a people. For a long time, we've been held back. And there have been a lot of illusions and misconceptions thrown in front of us to keep us off track. But we're starting to find ourselves. We're starting to feel ourselves. And the thing is, ain't nothing nobody can do about it. But we got to love one another. That starts with loving yourself. So women, just because he didn't walk up to you doesn't mean he didn't see you. And that he didn't think highly of you. He's probably observing you, and he's searching your energy. He's searching to see if you're compatible on frequency and vibration. He wants something more than a physical thing. And when you're in a good place with yourself, the right one will find. So you don't need them all to find you. You don't need all the attention. You need the one that you are compatible with. And then after you get to compatibility, now it's about covenant and building. It's about being committed to the fight to build, because it's not going to be easy. It's about building. It's about staying committed. It's about not yielding to the frustration. It's about not sitting up and saying it's irreconcilable difference. If he's not hitting on you, if he's not cheating on you, if he's sitting there and he's trying and he's putting energy in, figure it out. It's going to be some bad days. Person who counseled me when I was really and truly trying to understand this thing. I went through this process of about 12 years where I was researching to write this book called When Your House Is Not a Home, to deal with conflict in the marriage. Because I had made up in my mind the next time I get married, I'm not getting a divorce. I don't care what's going on. So I got to figure out, first of all, I got to choose somebody I can go the distance with. That's not choosing somebody perfect. That's choosing somebody that understands covenant, understands commitment, understands that it takes work, understands that there are going to be some days. The thing that I remember that sticks out more to me than anything else is, son, there are going to be some days. If you want to do this marriage thing right, there are going to be some days where you're going to look at her and you don't even like her. She done said something, she done did something, or you done got one of your moods. And trust me, there are some days that it's on the other foot. She's looking at you and going, I can't stand him. Those are going to be there. Those feelings aren't what is going to determine whether you make it or not. What's going to make it or not is that you have the idea and the understanding of covenant and commitment in your mind, and that you are loving her outside of your feelings. Because if you're loving her solely based on your feelings, how you treat her is going to be up and down based on what mood you're in. And that's going to take her on a very uncomfortable and inconsistent ride that's going to make her hard to deal with. You need to find a way to love her in a way that no matter what you're feeling, she's getting the same thing from you. You got to have a sense of covenant that says, I ain't really liking you right now, but I love you. I'm telling you that's possible. I'm telling you that some of the times that I'm looking at my wife, and thank God these are not many at all, but there's some time I'm looking at my wife and go, oh my God, And it's actually in those moments that my heart yields to her the most. And I'm going like, oh my God, I got this woman for the rest of my life. And it's not in a bad sense. It's like, yes. Because what we don't have right tomorrow, we got, I don't know how many days and years to get right. We're going to make it right. We're going to work together. We're going to build together. And it's not based off of how I feel in any given moment. It's based off of the fact that I told you on a certain day, on a certain year, that I was going to love you to the end, that I was going to do it no matter what, that I was going to do it whether we were sick or whether we were healthy, that I was going to do it whether we were feeling good or feeling bad, that was a commitment and a vow given that says, I'm going to honor you. I can literally tell you how many times in 2019, 350, 48 some days. I'm trying to do the math. I don't even know what day it is, but somewhere around 340 days, 338 days, something like that, we've been in this year. I can tell you how many times I've raised my voice. I would like to say 0, but it was 1. I know when it was and what it was about, and I'm not happy about it. I'm very disappointed in myself. But that's something I take pride in, is always, no matter what's going on and how I feel, there's a way I got to talk to my wife. There's a way I got to love on my wife. I never talk down on my wife. My wife can't tell you one thing I've told her she can't do. Meaning her capacity, or I'm trying to stop her from doing it. Either way, baby, you think I can? Yes, you can. Tell me what you need me to do. I'm going to let her find her way, and I'm going to love her into it. And when she gets to where she's at and she's really, really moving into her space, and when she gets there, I'm going to be that guy that's right there and got her. And I'm going to love every minute of it. And I was telling somebody the other day, I can't say who it is because they might not be ready to reveal it, but I was talking to somebody and I told them that you'll know when it's time, when you're ready to really, truly commit to a woman, is when you wake up, when you get to a point and you look at this person and you say, I'm going to wake up every day and put that person before me. That's the first part. That's not the only part. That's the first part. I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to put this person before me. But in doing it, I'm not going to see it as a sacrifice or a task. I'm going to actually feel honored to do it. That's something. That's something when you look at a person and just knowing that they're with you makes you want to stand up, man up, and make something happen for them. That's love. And it's not a feeling. It's an experience beyond explanation. It's inexplicable. It doesn't make sense to an average person who's not living in it. But that's what we have the capacity to do. That's what we have the capacity to do. And that's what we are going to have to be responsible for doing. One of the things I used to say, and I'm going to say this and I'll be done. One of the things that I used to say all the time before, and my wife remembers this, she mentions it every now and then, and it kind of puts a smile on my face because it lets me know even before I knew she existed, she was listening to me. Because I used to say all the time that our women have been through so much. They've been through so much hurt, so much disappointment, so much frustration. They've experienced abandonment at a level no other group of women have. They've experienced incest and rape as children, childhood sexual abuse at a level and a frequency and a rate that no other group of women have. They suffer from depression at a rate that no other group of women have. And I said, but black men, this is what we're going to do. We're going to love our women back to life. And see, I wasn't just talking about romantic relationships. I was talking about a state of mind. I was talking about if a black woman is in your presence, acknowledge her. And Marion will tell you, I'm in the store, but I do this not just with black women. I do it with black men. I make sure if a black man is around me that he knows I acknowledge he's there. And definitely with our elders. Hey, how you doing? You doing good today? You know how often black men walk around and feel unacknowledged? But I do it for women. We're going to love you back to life. We're going to give you the space to feel safe enough to heal. It's hard to heal when you're constantly trying to protect yourself from being hurt again. So that question, be careful with that. Be careful. Yeah, it's a good conversation starter, but it's keeping up confusion. Instead of asking why we don't see you or find you attractive, ask what can we do amongst ourselves to make our encounters more pleasurable? That's a question that needs to be asked on both sides. Ladies, how can we talk to you? What things bother you that we do? What things would you like to see us do more? Men, what, if you're worried about how men, what are you really attracted to? Stop listening to the videos from Young Stupid, Dopey Doo, and whatever the rappers out there are. They all, even the names are dumb. But you stop listening to them and telling you what you need. You need 30-inch eyelashes. You need a 80-inch butt. You need all this here. And then you upset because you're still not getting the attention, because that ain't really what we're looking for. Unless we really on that elementary level. We're looking for, I'm telling you, a black man's looking for a woman whose voice speaks affirmation, confirmation, validation. And don't give me this, I don't need nobody to validate me. Trust me, men in the most intense part of their soul want to be validated by a woman. That's why so many are bedding so many women, because one of the ways that a woman affirms a man is by giving herself to him. That's why you got so many men jumping from bed to bed, is because I can't give all of me because I don't know how. So the only way I can get it is when I get that. But then when we reach climax, it goes away. And so now I got to go find it again. I got to find it. So I'm oversexed and still undervalidated, because I don't understand that it's not just the sex. It's the voice. It's when she leans into you and say, you make me feel safe. I'm telling you, when you sit up and you're where you're supposed to be and she's where she's supposed, it's things that y'all naturally do that y'all give no thought to, that has massive power in elevating the person in your life. I'm telling you, when my wife leans into me, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing my job. She's safe. Sometimes she's so safe, I'm like, hey, you get over here. And like my wife will tell you, she's not allowed to open doors. None of that stuff. She can't get the groceries out the car and other stuff. Not that she's incapable, but before I came along, she had to do it so long by herself. Those are the things you don't have to worry about any longer. When I need you to do something, I'll let you know. When you want to do something, go do it. But you're not picking up these bags. You're not packing up nothing upstairs. I take her briefcase upstairs when she gets home. It's just the little things that say you're no longer in this thing by yourself that has massive impact. So on that note, I'm going to get off here. Look, we've got to do a better job of really, truly closing the gap between black men and black women, killing the division, learning how to love ourselves so that we can effectively love one another. We've got to get out of the competition. Black sisters, stop competing with one another. Black men, we got to stop competing with one another. We got to start elevating each other. But when you commodified like we've been, that's how the only way we get attention is with our things, our money, and our resources. So we want to compete and show I'm better than him. I don't want to be better than anybody. I want to be my best self. And in that alone, I'm valuable. But you got to learn that. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Like I said, for those who don't know, we're doing a lot of great work, Marion and I, in the black community, and we're asking for support. I don't have it in the description box yet, but I'm going to put all the information that's necessary to support the work we're doing, whether it's Black Men Lead, whether it's Ghettos Forgotten Daughters, Restoring Ghettos Forgotten Daughters, where Marion works with young girls who are at risk for all types of things. I love my wife because she's so strong. She's come from a background that she openly shares about. You need to know her story. Unbelievable. Survivor of so much, and she's still standing, and she's helping other people. And I want to give her everything she needs to do that. But anyway, we need your support. So this is going to end up on YouTube, and you guys know what to do. The support, everything that you need to support what we're doing is going to be in the description box. But for those of you on Facebook who normally get the business side of Rick, the inspirational, motivational Rick, this is a part of me. This is a part of my heart. This is what we do. We're boots on the ground with this, and we really need support. So I'm going to put the information as soon as I get off. I'm going to put the information of how you can support what we're doing in the description box, and you guys can do that. So on that note, I'm going to get off. I hope that I brought some enlightenment. I wasn't actually planning to go this deep off into it, but it is what it is. I'm grateful that I was able to share that maybe one person got something out of it. And if that's the case, I'm good. On that note, I'm shutting down. You guys have a great day. I'm out of here. Got to go see what baby's up to.